Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Rob Eistad, and I am the Director of Choral Studies at Cal State Fullerton, the Artistic Director of Pacific Chorale, and also the President of California Choral Directors Association. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to a session led by one of my idols. And I have a feeling, if we did a poll in the room, she might be one of your idols as well. Dr. Charlene Archibek is truly an extraordinary human being, an incredible musician, and a dear, dear friend. Before I finish introducing Charlene, I would like you to meet this extraordinary choir from Lee Summit West High School Una Voce Chamber Choir. They're led by Amy Krimke and Jacob Lowry, and I want to tell you, I just heard them, not but 5 minutes ago. And what these young people are doing is absolutely extraordinary. And so I just want to congratulate you all, and thank you so much for being here. Amy Krimke is the Music Curriculum Specialist and the Department Chair for the Lee Summit School District. And she's also Choral Director, obviously, at Lee Summit West. Most importantly, Amy was selected as Lee Summit Teacher of the Year in 2015-2016, which means she's beloved. And also beloved is Jacob, who's Director of Choirs at Lee Summit. He co-directed the LSW Concert Choir at the 2018 Missouri Music Educators Annual Conference. They're both highly involved in MMEA and ACDA, and we just thank you for being here and for your service. I remember hearing this session in 2005, the Los Angeles Conference, and it changed the way I thought about choirs, the way choirs stand, the way we position our singers. And I still think about this session when I work with my own choirs today. Dr. Charlene Archibek taught us lots of things. To say things in 7 words or less, right? So I'm talking too much already, I'm sorry. She's also the first woman to receive a doctorate in choral conducting in the United States. Yes. She's an incredible speaker. And most importantly, she is so much fun to be with. Any day that you get to spend time with Dr. Archibek is a great day. So guess what? You're all about to have a great day. Would you please welcome Dr. Charlene Archibek?
I wish I could live up to that introduction. But what he means is I'm a party girl. At Michigan, every Friday was TGIF, and we always did kegs of beer at 5 o'clock. And the tradition continues. Basically, what I'm going to do today is narrate all the work that has been done by Amy and Jacob and this choir. I recently moved out of my house after living there for 33 years on January 9th. So while they were getting ready for this session, I was moving and packing and cleaning drawers and shelves. And Amy knew what I was going to want to show you, and so she took my outline from when we did this in Missouri 3 years ago for the state convention, where people were just in amazement and awe at her choir, and I'm so happy that she and Jacob had the time and the interest to do this session, because basically they put it all together, and I can never thank them enough. I realized back when I was teaching junior college in San Diego, I had probably the worst tenor section of my whole career. And we had to sing at a festival for Elaine Brown in Los Angeles. We had the dress rehearsal run through the day before. We journeyed to LA from San Diego. And I thought, what on earth can I do to make this choir presentable? And so that night, my brain worked, and I thought, I'm just going to change position. I put the very best tenor right in the front row by himself. I formed a V and put the worst tenors with the ugliest voices in the back. And they were ugly voices, I'm not kidding. So I formed a V wedge, and then I rearranged the rest of the choir around them to kind of filter the sound. And it worked. It worked. They actually almost sounded good that day. So ever since then, I've been experimenting with what you can do to hide your weaknesses and to bring out the strength of your choir. And of course, to show off the different music that you're doing. So as you see these different positions today that choirs can stand in, I'd like you to think, what are the advantages and disadvantages of each one, and which one will fit with your choirs? How can you adapt or use these positions to hide your weaknesses, to make the music sound better, and so that the singers can hear each other in different ways. And as they hear each other, blend starts happening. You know, we all want a blended choir where individual voices don't stick out, but you don't want to spend hours and hours working on blend. But by doing the right position for each song, and every song is different. You can't just use the same position for every song or every venue. You have to experiment with your singers and the music that you pick. But as you hear the choir today, I want to ask yourself, right, will this position work with my choir? Could I try that? And how could I adapt that position with the singers that I have? Some of the positions you'll love and some you won't, but let's just hear what happens to the choir as they stand. To begin today, we're going to start two-row position with the traditional sopranos next to the basses. Now they'll move into three rows, and right away the tone will change. And now let's hear the difference in four rows, which I used to think was always the best position for any choir, was to stand in four rows. That's Verbum Supremum by Voce. How many of you like the three-row best? Quite a few, yeah. And you never know till you try it. And again, every song is different. Keeping the block formation, but now bringing the tenors to the front for the Norwegian Hallelujah by Arneson shows the advantage of letting the audience hear the melody in octaves. sopranos are together, and we'll still hear the octave on the left. What are some of the other advantages of having women in front and men behind, with the highs on the left and the lows on the right? It's a position you may not have thought of before. Excuse me. Totally new position. Wait. A totally new position to me was when I heard James Jordan do this at Westminster Choir College. He puts all the singers in a row across. Isn't this unusual? You have sopranos across the front, tenors, altos, and basses. Let's hear what they sound like. Same song. Works for this song, but let's hear what it sounds like on Steady Light by Unterseher.
Bless my heart has found with skyward love. Those who go before hold high the steady light that shows me where I am.
Let's bring the altos down in front and see if that enrich the sound. Sopranos and tenors are still together, but now we have the low, beautiful heart of every choir, the altos.
Let my heart expand with skyward love. Those who go before hold high the steady light that shows me where I am.
Definitely warmer, richer. Thank you, altos. This year's faces are younger than in previous years at Lee Summit, and they don't have as big of voices as some years. So let's see what happens when we let the basses stand in front of the choir.
Let my heart expand with skyward love. Those who go before hold high the steady light that shows me where I am. 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 That Lord.
front of the choir said it won't be that.
Significantly better.
Yeah. Notice they sound more resonant, fuller, more pure. Yeah, great. Thank you. For choirs, whose tenors are weaker, let's hear what it sounds like the tenors across. That's Gaudy Virgo of Josquin. This is especially good when the tenor has the main melody. I think specifically if I'm going to sing when the spirit moves in my heart, you know how many times you can't hear the tenors sing that solo? Put them across the front. So also in that last position you saw the sopranos across the back. If your sopranos are overbearing, the best place to put them is across the back. A rather unique way is to put your singers together in pairs. And here we see, the choir standing in mixed pairs with two altos next to two sopranos and two tenors next to two basses. I like this position because they can still hear the other part, they can tune to each other, but they have their favorite buddy standing next to them. I noticed when I used to sing at ACDA with the choir at Idlewild School of Music and the Arts in the summer, there was one singer who was a beautiful mezzo, and when I stood next to her, I felt that my voice was freer and more beautiful, and I could sing more easily when I stood next to her. So I know that in your choir, they probably have people that they would rather stand next to, and that they feel that their voices are better when they stand next to that person. So this is a great way to maximize that. We're going to keep those pairs, but regroup with the outer voices in front and the inner voices in back. We're going to sing Afternoon on the Hill by Eric Barnum. Beautiful. And now with the outer voices in back and the inner voices in the front field. This has many advantages, especially when the sopranos and basses are stronger than the inner voices. I first heard that formation when I visited Robert Harris at Northwestern University, And I've used it ever since, especially with my college choir, where the sopranos often are so strong, you don't want them in the first two rows. If your altos cannot be heard, move up to the front row. This is one of my favorite rehearsal formations at the beginning of the year, when the altos are just learning to resonate. So many of the sopranos already have beautiful voices, and they know they're going to be singers, or they're studying privately. And then there are the altos that just haven't found their voices yet. So I found that if you put them in front of the soprano, immediately they start to resonate. Let's hear it.
And not pick one.
That was beautiful. Out of the heart of the choir, I still say, strengthen your altos and strengthen the choir. One of today's most popular positions is to use what we call symphonic seating, placing the singers again in vertical blocks from high to low, left to right. Orchestral directors like this arrangement because they always know where to find the singers. Sopranos are always on the left next to the violins, and the basses are on the right next to the string basses, and the tenors in the middle next to the violas and the cellos, right? And it works, and it's kind of become the go-to formation. Let's see what it sounds like.
And when to Jordan's gods we are come, we are come. And when to Jordan's gods we are come. Jehovah rules the tide, and the waters and the ransom shall shout, we are come, we are come. And the ransom shall shout, we are come.
I used to think that unless the sopranos and basses were next to each other, they couldn't hear, but actually they can hear better across from each other. You can always, of course, make it a tighter semicircle or use the floor, but I haven't had any tuning problems since I started using it. Also, I'm very strongly right side dominant, and I like to have my men on the right-hand side where I can put them straight, ignore the women, and really work on those men, because that's where my ear goes, that's where my eyes go, and that's where my right hand is. So I really like having the men on my right. Saints bound for heaven, now it's horizontal blocks, but now we've got the lows behind the highs.
And when to Jordan's gods we are come, we are come. And when to Jordan's gods we are come. Jehovah rules the tide, and the waters and the ransom shall shout, we are come, we are come. And the ransom shall shout, we are come.
This is good when you have seminal music between the men and the women. I think of the Hymn Jubilate Deo, which is so great for beginning choirs, published by Sam Barber. And you have the men on the right and the women on the left, and they just immediately become a better choir in that position. This is the same melodic material with the melody on the left, and the lows are in front of the highs.
And when to Jordan's gods we are come, we are come. And when to Jordan's gods we are come. Jehovah rules the tide, and the waters and the we shall shout, we are come.
This is really great if your bass tend to sing too far back in the throat. You know, they like to get very dark and they shouldn't. So if they hear the tenors behind them, it helps them move their voices forward with more resonance. And I found right away my basses sound better when they can hear the tenors. As the choir left the block formation and moves into a large semicircle, let's not forget the circle formation for rehearsals as well as for concert formation, especially when the men are weaker. Now they are in the center singing out to the audience, and the women are facing each other across the stage. They can still sing full voice, but they don't drown out the men.
Alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala.
A little Italian madrigal, alla pia calia, by my favorite composer, Orlando di Lasso. You know, he wrote over 1,000 pieces and not one bad note in any of those pieces, in every language. And his madrigals are just as gorgeous as his sacred motets. Amy and Jacob like to rehearse in this position, which they call the clover or clover leaf. The singers can hear each other and watch each other and still see the director.
Skiki na baku Santa Gamba, lili papana kalia, 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 kalia. Chan chan bimi papa aria katuba. Kukana kalia, rite apice skututuni, rapi apice. Beli buoninu, karakire, karakire, karakire. Et non
Notice how their facial expression immediately improved when they watched each other. You don't have to say use more facial expression. Just get them together and they all start picking up on how they should look as a singer. It's one of the problems we have with beginning choirs where they don't understand the importance of facial expression. And you put them where they can see each other and immediately half of your problem is solved. Here the choir is rehearsing in a large circle in mixed quartets. Certainly one of the finest ways for a director to hear each individual voice. You can move around during rehearsal and you're actually listening to each singer and seeing what they need to do to improve. But you don't have to call them in one by one and have them sing in your office where they get all nervous, right? So you just say, let's rehearse in a circle today, and they love it right away. They can all see each other, they feed off of each other, and you can hear each individual singer.
Alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala.
And of course, if you're going to surround the audience with your choir, stereophonic sound, especially in a church, audiences just love it. And the choir is used to singing in the round, so it's not scary for them when you do that in the concert. If one section is having trouble with their entrances or just need to hear each other, pull one section into the middle of the circle. Here we have the tenors. Sorry, Dave.
Alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia, alala pia kalia. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala. Siamo, siamo Bernaguala.
And of course, we always like to have our choirs rehearsed in individual circles, sometimes around the piano, sometimes around the room. I like to put circles in different places all over the room. We won't take time to do that now, but nothing builds unity in a section like watching each other's mouths and faces and breathing together. I always use this practice when rehearsing Renaissance music with polyphony. It's important for you to find a way for the singers to stay together without watching the conductor. So here they will keep the pulse by feeling the taktus, tapping it. Hopefully there is. You can walk around the circle and keep the pulse with your feet. Thank you. That was fun. And they didn't fall off the riser. Or have you ever tried putting the men in a circle around the women? Even better, let them face each other. And why not put the men in the middle and let the women be on the outside? If we were on a flat floor, I would actually have them walk in this position and keep the pulse and not worry about conducting them so they could really hear each other and watch each other at the same time. That is interesting. Would you mind facing the audience, everybody, and try it in this position? We never did that till this morning, and isn't it fun to hear in this position? I mean, you just think of these are rehearsal positions, but try them in performance. It works. This choir had never heard these songs in these positions. Amy promised me when I called her back before Christmas, I said, promise me when you start that music that you will not practice it in these positions. So the first time they or I heard them was Tuesday night when I flew in from California to Lee Summit, and we walked through the whole presentation here. So the singers were so valiant, you know, that I know they were dying to sing the whole song in each new position, but they made them practice it in just one position till they learned the music. So it's been really fun for us to hear what these sound like. Most choirs love to practice in scrambled position, or some people call it mixed. Here the choir is in quartets, across and front to back, encouraging independence in the singers and real togetherness at the same time. For many songs, it's a great way to perform as well. Here they sing Fields of Gold by Sting.
Forget the sun.
little trouble hearing the tenors in this position. Let's put the tenors across the front. Leave the rest of the choir in scrambled formation. Much better. How about bringing the tenors down in front in a U shape? I like to do this when I feature my sopranos in The Bluebird of Charles Stanford. Isn't it amazing? The rest of the choir immediately dropped back and the balance was better. We had never tried that until yesterday. We were supposed to rehearse the day before because of icy roads. The kids were not allowed to travel, so yesterday we got some time in here. And that was the first time we tried that. I was amazed without telling the choir, they just immediately dropped back and sang softer and didn't drown out the tenors. So it's amazing what just changing the position does. You don't have to say anything. They figure it out for themselves. So, I think that's called listening forward, yeah. Is to have a soloist buried in the choir. By the time the audience searches to find where the melody is coming from, it's over already, and the audience feels cheated. They didn't get to watch the face, and they didn't get to see the soloist, and then the solo's already over.
On the body, body bed, solo glow.
We will sing and the wildflowers spring, and in sunshine the waters lie sleeping. But the broken
there he is.
heart can spring again, and the world knows not how we are leaving.
Come on out in front, friend.
On the body, body bed, solo glow.
We birdies sing and the wildflowers spring, and in sunshine the waters lie sleeping. But the broken heart will can a second spring again, and the world knows not how we are leaving.
You know how much happier you were when you could watch it. I promise you'll never, ever leave your solo buried in the choir again. Recently, I asked one of my former singers, she was actually my singer at Crawford High School in San Diego. I said, when you sang at Chapman University with Bill Hall, how did he stand the choir? Because they always sounded so good, no matter, every year. And she said, well, he had anchor singers. And she said, I was one of his anchors. And he would stand us in a W position. So what we've done is identify the anchor singers in this choir. the ones with the strongest and often most beautiful voices, and we put them across the front. Let's see what they sound like.
I will touch the hundred flowers. I will touch the hundred flowers. And not pick one.
Beautiful. Now let's put those anchor singers in a W shape. You can also use a double V or experiment with different variations of V's and W's. Okay, anchors, raise your hand now. Where are you? So let's see what you sound like, choir.
I will touch the hundred flowers. I will touch the hundred flowers. And not pick one.
That was beautiful. It was so much fuller, warmer. You didn't hear the individual voices, now the other voices matched with the anchors. It was pretty dramatic, I think. For those of you who don't have perfectly balanced choirs with 8 on the part, we're going to show you how to maximize your beastly basses.
So do we go, so do we go, how do we know, how do we know,
Good work, basses. We can hear you. Right there in front. Or if you only have a teeny tenor section, let's take the tenors in front.
so do we go, so do we go,
That reminds me when I first got the job at Crawford High School in San Diego, the first day in my choir 7 day, I only had 3 tenors. And I said, where are all the other tenors? They said, well, this is all we had last year, and we were enough for that director. I said, well, you're not enough for me. I said, I don't care how good you guys are. I want more tenors. So I promised the girls that they would bring me some more tenors, they would get an A for the semester. At the end of 2 weeks, I had 17 tenors. Now we're going to show you how the choir sound when they're bunched up, like you sometimes see choirs, and then we're going to spread them out so you can hear the difference in the sound.
Laus honor virtus gloria Dei Patri et Filio Sancto Simul Paraclito in sempiterna saecula. Amen.
Thank you. Now spread out. Yeah. I heard a choir at Lincoln Center in New York, and they were 36 men at a Polytech University from Japan. They stood on the floor, all on the floor, no risers, 8 feet apart, and the sound was phenomenal. And I've always remembered how much better the choir sounded when they were spaced 8 feet apart. I think it'd be a good doctoral dissertation to do actual research on the octave and space between singers.
Laus honor virtus gloria Dei Patri et Filio Sancto Simul Paraclito in sempiterna saecula.
I bet it feels a lot. Doesn't it? Not to be touching other singers and not to be singing people's hair and in their costumes. Would you mind, let's bring the first 2 rows down on the floor and see what it sounds like if we use the space down there. At first you might think, well, there's too much space between the singers or some of them are on a different level. But I find that you can get the singers out into the room and off the risers, you have better connection between the singers and the audience. I know I like it better when I'm in the audience like this.
Laus honor virtus gloria Dei Patri et Filio Sancto Simul Paraclito in sempiterna saecula.
Great. Did you like it? They're so flexible and so wonderful to work with. But I have to tell you, watching Amy and Jacob work with this choir, I'm so impressed with the way they treat their singers like adults. They never talk down to them. They explain to them why they've asked them to do something. If it's difficult, they ask them if they can do it. The singer's relationship with these 2 teachers is pretty phenomenal. What happens when a good choir stands in a bad formation? This looks like it would work. Let's see what it sounds like in a rowdy reader room. Not bad, but put them in where you think they'll sound best. That doesn't mean for every song this is the best for this choir, but for this song, Lady of the Room, it seems to work. Wonderful, great sound. I want to thank especially the principal and administrators at least on the high school and for the other teachers for their support of all 10 snow days, right? And still got this program together for you. Can we show them our